Alright, three great books to read that I've just come across, and it's a coincidence that I've been able to group them all together and read them in such a such a similar time period, but they really have brought the diet lifestyle together, giving me a better picture on how I should probably be eating. Okay. The first is In Defense of Foods. The second is Perfect Health Diet. And then the third, you wouldn't think of it as a diet book, but the Lewis and Clark journals from 1804, 1805, 1806. They actually, Lewis and Clark talk about what they eat daily. Okay? They hunt food every day. They jerk the meat. They boil it. They fry it. It's a heavy. This is like civilized paleo. Okay, they're eating a ton of meat, and that's all they can do. Every so often they'll trade with the Indians for corn. They brought their own flour, which they had stores up until they reached the Rocky Mountains, but I don't think they consumed a lot of that flour. A lot of times, if they find berries, which berries are not year-round, meat is year-round, berries are not. So they would find berries and they'd make comments about them. They'd be like, "Oh," and there's a lot of choke cherries, which I like. I agree. I like to eat them. They commented, "Oh, the choke cherries in June, like June 12th or whatever." They'll say, "Oh, we found some choke cherries, but they're a little early," something like that. Or they'd find other kinds of berries around and give descriptions if they didn't know what they were. And I had a little trouble following some of the descriptions and figuring out what they were referring to, because I don't believe I know all the berries, but it sounds like a lot of those red type of berries. But most of their diet is composed of protein, and of course this is supported by research in the Perfect Health Diet, which actually sounds like it promotes more meat eating, and it's slight in contrast to In Defense of Foods, which sounds like it says eats whole foods, mostly plants. Perfect Health Diet is, it's kind of mostly plants, but it sounds like you can get away with a heavier meat diet with them. A pound of a meat or animal source a day, something like that. So eating a lot of meat is very possible. And Lewis and Clark, I mean, the last of the civilized paleo lifestyle, they were eating wild meat, running around. They would actually shoot some animals, and then just say the animal is meager. It wasn't even worth skinning, I guess, or even trying to pull meat off of. So they'd kill an animal and then make comments that this animal is not fit for use. And then it sounds like they don't even take anything from it. They just killed it. And it makes me wonder why they would kill it in the first place. But this was back then when they needed entertainment too. I get the impression that maybe they were shooting some meager animals for the sport of it. Alright, they killed a lot of buffalo. Their favorite was beaver tail, maybe the fat in the beaver tail. They really enjoyed that as a delicacy. And they were consuming a lot of beaver. I mean, I could see why beavers might be a little endangered these days. They eat bear when they're able to kill them, to effectively kill them. Bear were tough. Bear would attack them. And there was a bear country before the Rocky Mountains on their way west. But a lot of meats, they tended not to like the goats, the mountain goats or the elk. That type of meat was not as tasty as other kinds of meat. Yeah. So these three books bring it together pretty good, that you can eat a lot of meat, but you want it clean, and you want to eat whole foods. You want to stay away from the polyunsaturated fats, okay? And even, you don't want to wipe out fat completely, but you know, well, too much they say hasn't really hurt people's hearts. I don't know what to think of it all exactly. I haven't really been having too many major issues. I'm just saying these are the 3 books that serve as a pretty good guide, a good read. The Lewis and Clark Journals is a very long read. I've been spending a lot of time reading that book, and it's not really it's not an entirely captivating book, but it's very interesting. Okay, so yeah, I recommend these 3 books.